Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the IGE Community Cup Series Valorant, powered by Logitech G, and it's gonna be your boy Aggressive here to bring you all the action before the entire LAN is about to start up. Day number 2 is underway, and we have two incredible teams who are gonna be taking the stage for us and showcasing exactly what they are gonna be capable of, and it's gonna be none other than Vintage Gamers going up against Warbex Esports. Two pretty incredible teams, and Vintage Gamers, of course, carrying a lot of household names when it comes down to the Bangladesh scene. A lot of good players who are now trying to make their stand in a pretty solid fashion. But moving on away from that, what I'm really interested to see is how things are gonna pan out for each of these squads, because knowing Vintage Gamers, they are quite a potent team when it comes down to their overall strategy and team play. And here is where things are gonna get a lot more interesting in my eyes at the bare minimum, because with how we have seen Warbex perform in their previous matchups, they do have a little bit of a rocky start and they take some time to get their footing onto the map. But once they do, they are a very hard team to crack. And I'm hoping that at the end of the day, things will just be a little bit more favorable in the side of Vintage Gamers, in the side of Warbex's hand, because Vintage Gamer is one of those teams that if you allow them to get away with too much, it's gonna damper your plans quite a bit over on the long haul, especially when the map is bind. Bind is where things get a lot more interesting, because with how the meta is shifting day by day, a lot more teams have started to pick up Harbor, and this Harbor pickup is possibly the most meta-defining pick that you can think of. It's so difficult to play against a Harbor on this map, especially when you know that he and the Viper can just solo hold the side and delay a push for the longest amount of time. So at that point, every single team starts to play for the long haul, baiting out utility as much as possible and stopping this Harbor from getting any value out of his abilities. But that is so difficult because of how long his abilities last. And if you have the Viper on the opposite side, you can't push her. There's ample amounts of information to be gained, and with Sky being that solo initiator, you will always gain that info without even breaking a sweat. That rechargeable utility, those flashes, not only allow for really good entries, but info gathering in general because of how small bind is as a map. You pretty much have nothing to worry about if you have a Sky, because knowing the general location of one of the enemies is more than enough in the long haul, I would say, because you don't need to pinpoint them. You swing out of the corner and they're fully flashed, or even if the flash is able to half blind them. That's ample amounts of info that you're going to be able to get to prepare yourself for a fight and take the duels in the best manner. But as we are going to be witnessing a little bit of a problem coming in from Aryan's side. Takes a while for this poor boy to load. Doesn't have an SSD yet, so in the meantime, make sure to check out all the links down below in the description and grab yourself some gear from Logitech G. I told you, I'm using a Logitech G Pro wireless myself, and I'm absolutely adoring the mouse. Good quality, good aesthetics as well. So make sure to check out all the links down below. A lot of pretty good deals coming in from Logitech, so if you don't want to miss out on any of that, if you want to support IGE, then all the links down below in the description. But for now, let's talk a little bit more about the map and the teams. Just as I stated, Harbor is pretty much going to be the most interesting one. There are very few Bangladeshi teams that have started to pick up Harbor and actually made it work. That's the thing. Making this character work has to be the most difficult of feats because of how inconsistent things can get.
Toxins
Those inconsistencies are just gonna start adding up more and more over time, unless you know exactly how to play it. And Tempest taking a little bit of a bite over from the side. Adu just immediate on the swing outs, but Tokyo good on the refrag. He's gonna be able to shut down two. Pot takes down another one from the side, and Hilicious, he takes a back seat as a member of Warbex. Their slow starts are not really happening here. They're able to survive and they're able to hold. And Tokyo, couple of missed shots and an opportunity that will not be found again. He's in a tough pond. maybe with Arya and an asterisk, he should be able to perform a miracle here. A bot. He is very fast on this rotation. If he's able to catch them off guard here, could be just make it or break it for his entire squad.
Spike planted.
Arya, he knows that he needs to push in aggressively to try and get a hold of this positioning. Good for the first kill. He's got to be able to find it. Does get traded out immediately. That's the first. That's the second. And bot coming in from the side of short to get the final frag up. Good plays from either side. The rotation was perfect. Aryan was able to get into position as well. Get one kill at the bare minimum for his squad before he does die out. And that was the perfect play for them. 1-0, Warbex. They were able to salvage the round even right at the very end when things got a little bit dicey, just on the basis of communication. Timing is key on the map of line, and if you're able to push together as a team better than your opposition when you're on the defense or even on the attack, things will get a lot more simple. We're going on back to this round now. Bot. Good for maybe one kill. This taking a good chunk of damage, and this force buy is gonna be causing a lot of issues, but never mind. The stack towards the A side completely bamboozled their opposition.
No charges.
And the attack just don't even have an idea of trying to hold this. Asterisk once again to maybe cause a little bit of damage over from one side. Yes, Coon. Looking to maybe find a little bit of an opening. It all depends on one of the players showing up over from the sides, and Shadow fast on the repeat and the swing. Just both of the players of the attack. And this rush coming in from the members of Vintage Gamers really just got put a halt on quickly. And here is where I'm really surprised. Vintage Gamers, they are possibly underestimating their opposition. They need to take things a little bit slower. Take time to bait out utility, because against a team comp such as this, they should know that if you don't play time, you're just trying to brute force your head in as quickly as possible. You really don't want to be in a spot like this.
Hawk out.
Aryan. To maybe find a player completely off guard. Shadow, good for a peek maybe, but it's caught with his pants down. Not gonna be able to survive that one. Bot 1, 2, 3. Good for 2 kills. Beautiful frags from his end. Wasn't expecting to survive that one. Maybe a fake over to the B side could have worked out in their favor if they hit the shot, but bot 1, 2, 3. Way faster on the trigger. Aiming for maybe another kill. Needs to find the headshot. Doesn't really get it. Arya.
Last player standing.
Just trying to thread the
Spike
needle, but
down A.
entrance was just a little bit too narrow. Adu, good for 1 kill, but and 1 kill is just complimentary points at this stage. One more shot off the blade storm.
I got the spike.
He does find this kill. That ultimate, having that ultimate
30
online
seconds left.
could just be a big factor on him winning this round, but he still needs to get at the bare minimum of 1 kill before he even wants to pop it. Otherwise,
Spike plant.
it's not gonna be looking that good. At the bare minimum, plant 20 comes in, so they're gonna be happy about that one. Ample amounts of cash to carry forward into the next couple of rounds, so even if they lose here in this next round, their loss streak bonus will be able to carry forward, and they'll have ample amounts of money to go in for another buy and keep that economy flow going if they opt for half shields. But it seems like Aryan isn't really the advocate for the half shields anymore, but hey, who am I to judge? Now though, we do see a little bit of an aggressive play coming in from the defense on the other side of things. Yeah, it's going good for the first. He's looking for more, but God damn, when you have a shotgun like that, prepped up and ready to take everything over. Dowsy already got that first engagement. Helicious on the back end of the shower side catches out another over aggressive player. And this is where things start falling into place. The members of Vintage Gamers, they have that read, and Warbex, even though they have played phenomenally, now that they have been read, they need to start focusing on changing up their strategies. Several plays will slowly but surely start to wane on them. So Hooker Push has the backup prepared and ready on the other side of things, though. That's the first initial bullet, and Helicious is going to be able to find one. Looking for even more. Bot 1 to 3, not going to be able to survive that one. Dowsy, maybe a couple of whiffed shots, but the spray just does not connect, and Aryan's going to be able to clean things up with a 3-1 as the members of Vintage Gamers, they've gotten themselves back onto the board. As Warbex, less scratching their heads a little bit here for what just happened, but that early aggression coming in towards Suka and the callback answer from Helicious as well outside of showers really just completely took the members of Warbex off guard. They were not prepared to take these fights. But for Warbex, now that they have a little bit of an answer of how to take this duel, one, it's just about to begin. Even more. Dowsy on the other side of things, though. He's just waiting to see what he can find. Yes, spoon. I'll find the player that he's looking for here, but what's really happening in this regard? 1, 2, 3. Opting for the aggressive play, and the flick is gonna be absolutely gorgeous. Arya wasn't even prepared for that fight. Gonna get caught out completely, and Adu maybe good for a frag up. Not gonna happen. He went in dry, and there was absolutely no utility to try and stabilize him. Aryan dying that early does make the entry pretty weak. And Adu is gonna be the one who suffers for it. Helicious on the outskirts, though. Tries to walk in towards the side, and it just doesn't work. The Iskun also getting caught out, and Vintage Gamers, they're just falling apart piece by piece. And if this is how it's gonna go, it's just gonna keep on getting worse every second. They need an answer.
10 seconds left.
Looks to be one of those maps that it's very hard to play into just because of the nature of this composition. You're not gonna be able to break in anytime soon because of how many walls and how much utility you have to try and fight
before they
through.
even pull the trigger.
That is why we've been witnessing a lot of teams start to pick up the KO as well, just to get an opportunity to push the site. If your KO is able to catch the Viper at the bare minimum with a 0 point, things just become so much easier. And maybe even the Harbor, you need that small window, that opening that will allow you to break into a site.
Right there.
For the members of Vintage, don't really have anything that can give them that opportunity. Subtle Duelist needs to work out in their favor. They have the firepower, but this firepower really doesn't mean much at the end of the day. No one is able to break through with it. Shadow can smell a good chunk of players coming in through the long wall. He knows to back on up with his teammate. They're not making any noise, and this is so smart. They're not giving away how many players are exactly here towards this elbow side. This is gonna be huge. He has his own ultimate to play around with. 2 shots have been fired. They know the exact positions. Tempest standing out pretty much in the open. It's spammed out by the opposition here. Nadu, aggressive as ever. He's not gonna be skipping a beat on that one. Now it's just a waiting game. Walls in place. They need to respect it as well. And with the flash prepped up and ready, swing out from the side. Adu, missed shots. That's gonna cost you there, buddy.
Blinded.
And here is where things slow down even further. Dowsy, I do believe, is having some technical difficulties of his own as Vintage Gamers. They get the read, and they have the play under their belt. Could have been a bit more optimal in the way that they could have approached this round, but at the end of the day, I have to say Vintage Gamers played their cards right to get this victory.
Spike's there. Let's go, Viper.
Dowsy on the other side of things, though, he's just holding it down with the position, and Arya is gonna be able to get the punish. Beautiful in that regard. They have the chance to go in for a complete and utter bamboozle, but this has to be a read of going back towards the A side, because with those TPs, that's gonna be a complete and utter halt to the rotations, because they need to start respecting this B hit. Flash does miss out from the other end of things. Delicious just trying to play over to the back end of this. It needs to catch out a couple of these rotating players. It could happen at any second. Aryan
I've got
with the
your
ult in its
trail.
hand. Here is where the real fun is about to start. The entry is still very much in the likings. And Tempest, missed shots. That's gonna cost you there, buddy. Last player will be Delicious. Will take this fight against Shadow. Already has the timing for the Shadow. Completely throws him off guard there. Catches out Delicious over from the side. A Shadow. Maybe another duel. Good for the first. He's looking to be the danger man and maybe the clutch master for this team. But this three-way hole. Yeah, that is dangerous. There's no way he can win that one. The triple stack on 3 different angles. Good luck ever being able to win that.
Watch their movement, study their patterns, exploit
That's a
whatever
hold.
you can.
The members of Vintage Gamers, they look to be
Can someone spot me?
heading on down to the lead side. As this match starting off on a pretty good tone for the members of Warbex, but slowly but surely things are slipping away more and more. As time is no longer in their favor.
Right there. Wave crashing.
Fire in the hole!
From the ult coming in from the members of the Escone. It's not going to be able to find the shot, but the reverse ult coming in from bot 1 to 3 does catch out Delicious, and that completely cancels the Viper Spit. And this Viper Spit could just be the make it or break it for their side. Yes, Sakun just survived that pit. He's able to get one more frag for his team. That one frag alone. Give them the space that they need to get this spike planned out and force this down to a 2 versus 3 retake situation. Tempest knows he needs to clear out lamps, but with no players being present there, Tokyo good for the first kill. Asterisk's looking for even more, and Aryan, he's playing such a dangerous game. The way that he's playing it could just be the best thing for the squad. Swing up from the side. That's could be a kill. And Aryan, you just can't do that there, buddy. Asterix over from the side. He needs to try and go in for the spam. He's not going to be able to make it. And Aryan, what was that whiff there, buddy? That was your free kill. He just completely botched it. Still happened, but that's a tragedy of a round. That could have been your equalization, and now you're fighting to just keep yourself in the running when it comes down to your bank. It's a tough position to be in, but that is a rough for the team. Bit of a slow start coming in from the members of Vintage in this regard.
Scout destroyed.
Sun comes out from Dowsy. Zadu wanted to be the hero in this story, but it's really not going to be the case. Flash in hand, pretty much prepped up and ready. Aryan, he could take the swing if he wants to, but he's have to go for it. Pretty interesting play though coming in from the sky. Tempest so close on this angle. He has the timing for everything and just wait it out. Gets the first shot. And
Spike
Asterisk
down B.
takes a back seat. Spike goes down and that's another kill. As the members of Warbex, they have so much map control and I'm adoring each and every second of it. This map control is what they want, but Helicious on the other side, he has his own to play with. Good kills from either side and Aryan's gonna be able to find another one. 3 versus 2 though, regardless. With the favor in the hands of Warbex. How do they want to play this? With Dowsy, with a judge holding towards Lambs, it's gonna be tough. They know how difficult this will be to take over this side. Because without Lambs control, they're pretty much playing in the worst possible position. The ult comes out, but the plant is not being cancelled just yet. That's the first stun, that's the second. And Dowsy, he's just holding onto the rolling thunder for the perfect moment. He's able to fight both. 6-3, ladies and gentlemen, as Warbex. They came out here to play, and they are playing it all in style. Beautifully done from each end of this. But what I am missing from members of Vintage is just a lot of macro mistakes over and over again. They're starting to take duels just by themselves. They are not really focusing on what they could do as a team. These unnecessary fights are just gonna start building up, and Aryan way out into the dumpsters. You know that if there's a Viper smoke like this, they're possibly pushing up on it. And this one play could just be the thing that breaks them here. 3-man push over on the one side, and now Helicious, he's just waiting to maybe find that first initial duel, but because of how often he has gone in for these lurks, they know that Helicious just doesn't move out of showers. He will be present there, and no one's gonna peek him pretty much at all. And Dowsy catches the timing, and poor old Helicious is now gone. The push up over towards the A side is completely gone, but Asterisk, he's holding down the angle, and it's gonna be Shadow just way quicker on the trigger. Beautiful crosshair placement from the map. They get the hold, and they're able to survive for one more round and keep the ball rolling in their court. As Warbex, they look to be one of those teams that just completely takes over a game, but the real question is, will they be able to keep this performance up on the attacking side as well? Because Bind heavily favors the defense, especially on a composition like this. So baiting out utility is something that the members of Vintage are having a lot of trouble with. But for Warbex, will it be the same?
Get out of my way.
Or do they have a strategy that can completely change the tides of this battle? Here comes the spam over from one side. Tempest, beautiful when it came down to the flash placement. Tokyo is going to be good for another one. And they are able to hold Tokyo. Good for the first, good for the second. He got the 4K to open things up for the side of Warbex. Getting another round for his squad. And Tokyo, man, pretty much, I would have to say the man of the match, because the way that he's been playing this Viper has been absolutely devastating to the side of Vintage. They don't have an answer to this, especially when he's hitting shots like this and still anchoring into the side and giving backup to his teammates. It's a tough one at the end of the day. Vintage, they're doing so many things right, but mistake after mistake is coming just purely because one player is pushing a little bit too far up compared to the other. They can't coordinate their pushes fast enough. That coordination only comes with time, as Tempest completely gets caught off guard because of the positioning of the orb. And finally, the ults are going to be playing a lot into this, and bot 1, 2, 3, pretty much in an impossible situation, but still walks away with 2 kills and equalizes things out for a 2 versus 2. Shadow over from one side, good for the first kill, holding down the line. And now he's just going to wait. He has an operator in his hand. And with 1 minute left on the clock, Shadow misses the first initial bullet. That comes out. He does get the 75 tag over onto one. And now Dowsy flash out over from one side and he misses it. A whiff of a round, but a dodge on the 9-3 curse. So at the end of the day, I would still say regardless, it's a win-win for both sides. 1 round for the members of Vintage Gamers. The dodge of the curse for the side of Warbex. With the pause being taken in a couple of seconds. Let's see what the game plan is for this pest round, because how things have been, I'm expecting a little bit more of an emphasis where Vintage, we should have an answer, but this defensive side historically is known to favor this particular team, but it's still not gonna be that easy. We are back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the short little pause, but the teams needed a little bit of time to just get back into the groove of things. It seems as though Iskun is going to be pretty optimal when it comes down to his play. First initial shot does connect, and he's able to take down his counterpart in just a couple of seconds. A couple of missed shots coming in from Tokyo. That'll be a costly one. Iskun just getting kill after kill, and he has absolutely no remorse in the way that he does it. Tempest, last player remaining, not really going to be able to get much done as Astric has his phone number to call him up. Another kill for the members of Vintage Gamers, and after this pause, they have started to pick things up, and this is where the problems will start to show up a lot more. The attack side is where the real tough parts happen. 4 rounds is what the members of Vintage Gamers want. They knew that they have a composition that is heavily favors the defensive side, but with the double duelist composition, I'm a little bit scared of how they're gonna play this. They have a lot more options though with the double duelist because of how aggressively they can go out and take duels, but a little bit of utility lacking could just be a huge problem, but never mind. This 3-man push over from the side of B long, it's a good catch. Naru's just gonna keep on going with DS good on his side. Last one remaining will be Tempest over from one end of things. Maybe good for 1 kill. Doesn't really happen. Tempest turned a little bit too early and the flash just completely killed him. 8 and 6. Just 2 rounds just go by in a flash. With the buy round now finally coming in for the side of Warbex. What's the game plan here? What do they want to do to try and hit the A side or possibly the B side? Because personally, I would do is take early showers control, try to brute force out as much utility as possible on showers, because everyone will want to fight for showers at the first initial instance. After you take showers, you send one of your players over towards hookah, clear it out, and just cause a little bit of noise. And after that noise, you can start going in for pushes, but never mind. They're going in a little bit too deep without a lot of utility, and that is hurting them quite a bit. The over-aggressive peaks will be costly for them, as Halicious over from the back has so much map control. The members of the defense, they don't have much to worry about. They can wait it out because of how much information Halicious is gaining for them.
Toxin screen down.
But the thing is, he's also in such a dangerous spot to play with. Tokyo, Dowsy, making their way up all the way from showers, and Aryan has the flash ready once again, so if he wants to use it, he can just pop it to gain that early level of information, and that's gonna be the flash. He gets the info, and now they're just gonna hold. Very much nothing to really worry about. No real utility that can even give them an edge here. Tokyo blocking off the left side, but it's still open. Good for the first initial kill. Aryan gets traded out immediately. Good trades from either side. The plan could just be coming in finally too. Call should be coming in that the players heading on over onto shore. Not really the most optimal of plan spots. And Dowsy still is going to be able to recover. Good shots from the man. And maybe a flash could have made things a little bit better. Unless Dowsy's, let's say, dicey at the end of things. But hey, who am I to judge? Good plays from the members of Warbex. They get the 9-6. They made sure their buy round was not really a loss, but at the end of the day, you gotta remember that was a bonus coming in from the members of Vintage, and they played that close flawlessly when it came down to the execution.
Hawk out!
It's a pretty smart play. Early showers control coming in from Tempest. He's going in alone this time. I think that maybe if he can get a little bit of an over-aggressive push, things could be a little bit better for his squad. Tempest can't really opt for the walkout just yet. If he does, he's gonna get caught out by the harbor. Dogs at the ready. Able to break his way in a little bit here. Gain that early level of information to possibly find one of the over-aggressive players, but Adu, back end of this, is expecting one player at the bare minimum to cause them some issues. And here is where another problem lies of this strategy. You do not have a smoke that can cover out A-Heaven. At that A-Heaven angle, if there is an operator on the opposition team, that one operator could just easily change the tides of how the defensive rounds go. Bot 1, 2, 3 can't really opt to go in for that aggressive play just yet. They know there's a double stack over towards the hookah angle, and they need to try and clear this one out. Aryan's gonna be good for the first. He's looking for even more. Positionally, they're still sound, and Tokyo good for 1, but he's not gonna be good for any more than that. The spoon opting for the rush, and he's gonna be able to hold with his buddies and survive this fight.
Grenade!
And this hookah hold was just absolutely phenomenal. They were not willing to give up hookah at all. And because of how much pressure that was coming in to the side of CT, the members of Warbex, they were a little bit split when it came down to their attention. They had the option to completely smoke off the side of defender spawn, and then take the duel over on Hookah first. Before doing anything else, if you cleared out Hookah, two of your players who were outside could have finally walked out without really having any sort of problems, but here, not gonna be looking that good. Failed flash from Aryan, but does get a little bit of info at the bare minimum, so not really the end of the world, but both the members of Warbex will be kicking themselves because of the economic disadvantage that they're facing. I'll go through mid, classics in hand. They're just looking to do as much damage as possible. Maybe get that spike plant down for the extra money.
Last player standing.
That's just kill after kill. That was just instantaneous, but hey, when it comes down to eco rounds like this, it's bound to happen, right? Instantaneous double kills, not really a lot of rushes coming in from either side of things, so at the end of the day, Hakuna Matata. But that double-digit round is where a lot of the plights are going to lie in. Delicious. Timing is everything for him. And this Viper, he's able to thrive in this environment. Just
Toxins going up.
everything for him. Pretty much gets into a very powerful corner to play with. The thing is, I don't like the odds of this. Delicious. He's playing in such a tough position, but regardless of it, he's able to make things work with his buddy. Bot 1, 2, 3, trying to survive this one. Not really going to be happening here at all. Dowsy over from the other side. Jump up from Aryan from one end to the other. And last player remaining will be Tokyo. Good for the first initial kill, but I think Spoon, this phone number to try and call him up and maybe get another frag. Tokyo good for the first. It's not gonna be good for the second. Aryan's gonna be able to get the refrag off regardless. 9-9 as the members of Vintage Gamers, they're showcasing exactly why the defensive side on this map is so difficult to break into. Initially, you could be saying, hey, why did the members of Vintage Gamer not play like this when it came down to the attacking side? It's purely because of the composition that they're playing and, of course, the architecture of the map. How do you take duels on this map? You just can't. Not against the composition like Harbor and Viper. It's tough to break into unless you have perfect team synergy, and even if you have a breach, to break through those lines is just a completely different story. Tempest, good for a kill here. Adu,
Down A.
another free shot for him. Is Tempest looks to be a little bit of a nuisance as bot 1, 2, 3 catches out the Bucky and he just tries to casually run in. Alright, sure. Maybe that could have worked, but Adu. Pretty hefty miss for him. That's going to be a catch over from the side as Tokyo once again, man. This guy is doing God's work out here. He's making things work as much as it possibly can, but that alone is just not going to be enough. Aryan good for another as Tempest, last player remaining. He's going to be making a run for it over towards the B side, knowing that it's completely empty. Hilicious is playing the long game here. He's going to opt to go around instead of taking the teleporter. He's giving them the option that, hey, maybe I'm possibly coming in from the back. We don't really know just yet. Tempest clears out the CT side, and he's making his way towards Alpha. So smart the way that he's playing this one, too. Planted for the CT side. That should give him Hilicious an idea of where he could be playing, but there's a double-edged sword at the end of the day. Flash in the hands of Tempest. He can play it as slow as he wants. This double flash is gonna make this play even more difficult. Hilicious clearing way too many angles. Does get caught out for it completely. Thrifty round coming in from the members of Warbex. They get the double digits on the board and they set the momentum and the pacing for these following rounds. Because now that Vintage, they have the crunch of this double digits under looming over them, sorry. The problems just gonna keep on building.
Time to hunt.
Flash I suggest you move.
Delicious. This Viper ultimate's doing pretty much everything that they need here. This Tokyo, man, how is this guy getting away with so much all the time? Arya in the back does get the first initial catch. Dog in hand, trying to get that first bout of information. Flash is ready, stun is present, goes for the shot, but Tempest is gonna be even better on the trigger here. And now one more flare over from the side. Tokyo once again, man, he is doing everything that he can to keep his team in the running. And Adu down to a 1 versus 2. He does have the smokes to play with. Can get the half if he wants to as well. It's just about playing the time. Over from one side. Could just be Shadow's turn to peek out and get the frag out. He does get the catch that he wants. 11-9 as Warbex, they're inching closer and closer with a sweet taste of victory. And here is where things are gonna start getting a lot more hyped for each of these squads.
Behind me.
There.
Another momentary lapse though. We do see Aryan
Blinded.
aggressive when it comes down to the flash, and he's gonna be able to find two. Okay, the Mind Vandal does not do that. He casually gets a double dink over onto 2 players, and he walks away with 2 kills as well, regardless, but he flashes himself.
Yikes.
As Adu. He had a little bit of help here. Bot 1 to 3 gets caught out with the animations, not gonna be able to live through that one. Dowsy
Last player standing.
looks for a kill. It's not gonna be able to find pretty much anything, as Vintage Gamers aggressive when it came down to their play. Warbex had absolutely no idea what just hit them. Slapped to the face and a call back to reality. Aryan.
There.
There.
Satchel out. Out of charges.
This is where things start to get a lot more interesting from either side of this. And Adu,
Spike
again with the
down
aggressive
A.
peek out's gonna be able to find that first initial catch. Up in hand, he misses the shot. And Adu kicking himself for that one, but his teammates are gonna be able to recover from it regardless. A very fast aggressive take coming in from the members of Warbex, but that aggressive play just didn't bear any fruit whatsoever. They're stuck on an eco now. They couldn't even go in. They went in for a full-on buy in the last round, but that's the thing. You can't rush in a composition like this. It's just physically impossible. Doesn't matter how good of aim you have, you will start to get slowed down by so much utility that anyone, even with subpar aim and just enough game sense, is going to be able to get the drop on you. And because of how beautifully the members of Vintage Gamers are positioning themselves, they have ample amounts of time to break through with their utility properly.
Toxin screen down.
But from the back though, yes, good. It's a good read on the positioning here. Shadow. Okay, beautiful when it came down to the trigger there. All right.
Right there.
The guy with the sheriff is an absolute menace, and he's making sure he sends a message here. It's one gun in the hands of Warbex, as this round could just be another thrifty purely on the brilliance of Shadow. Heal comes in for Diascoon, but heal is very limited. A lot of damage being given on the early rounds when it came down to that long pick.
Let's turn the
They
tide.
feel the pressure and they feel the heat. Little bit premature when it came down to the ultimate being used by the Harbor, but at
Water
the end of the
rising.
day, it could have been just a little bit better positioning. Still, I don't like it personally. Yes, good takes down 2 and takes down his own life as well. But at the bare minimum, he took down the Viper. The Viper is one of the biggest problem childs here for this entire roundup. Swing out from the side. Hilicious is not going to be able to find anything, and this will be a thrifty round coming in for the members of Warbex. This is one round that you just cannot lose, but Shadow on his brilliance, he's able to bring it all back. And yeah, Shadow does have only 12 kills, but you have to remember this guy's been getting a lot of impact frags. Very important kills coming out from him and him alone. That one Sheriff in this last round completely changed the tides of this battle. This was a thrifty round that if they won, they get to match point. They forced the hands of Vintage Gamers to start thinking of a brand new strategy and playing a lot more aggressively. That is exactly the answer. Yaskoon misses the first shot, and that is an operator miss that you just cannot afford. That's an answer back, and with the pulse coming in finally, that's gonna be another body starting to get dropped. Last person over on the back end of the side is going to be Asterix. They're just dropping like flies one by one. As bot 1 to 3, he knows not to go in aggressive. He does not want to give any advantages to the opposition as Vintage Gamers. They are trying to pull off the impossible at this stage. No ults, one flash in hand. Maybe good for one kill as Tokyo's going to be in the middle of nowhere. But that orb was just perfect. Shadow, how are you doing this, buddy? He's able to find everything, and Vintage Gamers, they get eliminated. Warbex, what was this answer? What was this play? How do you do this? I adored every second of it. Tokyo had a phenomenal performance, but Shadow, this guy is an unsung hero when it came down to his utility. The way he did the setups, and the way he played a lot of the rounds where it really mattered that he would pop off. He made sure that he placed his mark. God damn, that is gonna sting for the side of Vintage Gamers, because they could have had a pretty good read, but just didn't pan out the way that they wanted. But now, it's gonna be all that we have for you for this matchup, ladies and gentlemen, because that was a phenomenal performance from both of the teams. But for Warbex, they took it to the next level. Each and every round was a nail biting, and when it comes down to bind, if you understand the game, of course, you can see how much thought is put into each and every speck of utility being thrown onto the map. And here, things just got a lot more interesting. That's gonna be day number 2, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you all for stopping by with me for the IGE Community Cup Series Valorant, powered by Logitech G. Make sure to check out all the links down below in the description, and I'm gonna be catching you tomorrow with a lot more action for this tournament and a lot more casts moving on down the line. Bye bye and good night.